I think you can turn them on. Thanks for
Yes, it is.
Well, there's truth in that. We can. You guys can come in. This is just for people who aren't sure what it is. There you go, right there. There you go.
Morning. Morning. Sorry, can I use that corner?
Absolutely.
How are you? Good. Yeah, so nice to see you. Sure. This is our luncheon. Good. Good. You all have a thing. I know it's like I know, and I was like, to watch your mom. And so all my little friends said, Liberty was playing the community, and she's like, hey. Right, that's good. You guys know what I gotta do. I'm eating him here. I mean, it's just people friendly thing. Yeah, that's good.
So I'll work on the letter market. Because I've got it already. And I've been ready to work it, and then I'll send it to you. And you try to work it. You gotta get Robin.
Hey, you're making me relive my little boy when you posted that picture of all the car. I'll put it up somewhere. See if you can find Tyler. And that was Father's Day weekend. Do you remember we had that big dispute and they went drive all the way back to Vegas and all that kind of stuff? You wore the thing so far. I'm just trying to get there, I'm sure. But I pulled up the picture.
Rob, how are you?
Good.
Morning.
One was Davis. One was. I can figure out the other one. How are you?
I saw one. I had told me it's an hour ago. In North Farm, over the silo.
All right, we'll get going in 2 minutes.
I've had some buyers and had one the listing booths. You see it on the Please, aren't you seeing that?
Yeah.
Yes, anyway, I think mid. Yeah, she said, give her
I'm a professional. There's no flash, but I
So, it's not on the property, there's also things.
Almost happy birthday, buddy. Scary
Does
birthday.
everybody have their cards up here for the drawing?
No, but I am here for the wine. Draw that.
Well, you gotta wait until the end of the meeting. We're gonna draw at the end of the
Good looking shirt.
Yeah, it is. I thought it was putting it on.
It'll look good at the end of the day.
Once we have all the cards in the bowl, we will draw. So, who can tell me what this fine thing is right here? This is a wine tumbler. Miss Tiffany, why don't you tell us about this wonderful little contraption that
It's
you
true,
created?
I call it a wine sippy cup because if it tips over, it's not gonna spill unless you have your little slide thing over. But I use it on the beach and it's on the boat and all that kind of stuff. It's just a fun
In the
wine.
car. I mean, driving to the beach, driving to the boat, with it all.
All the time, morning and night.
So Tiffany made these. We ordered about 20 of them, I think. And so we're going to give 3 away. And the total cost, if you want to purchase one of these, is just $15. So how fun is that to be able to go to a party, a bunko, whatever you ladies like doing? And, you know, what a great way to get the topic of real estate coming up than drinking from your sippy cup.
And
Either the
hand
wine
wash
is so damn
them.
bad, I got to drink from a sippy cup, or it's so damn good, I'm having one of the other.
If you get one, hand wash it, please, so that the cycle doesn't come off. Here.
Yes, I will note, in these, except for this one, in these, there is a card. I had to take the card out so I want to look as good as possible. The picture is, it says, double wall insulated wine tumbler. Care instructions, hand wash only with warm soapy water. Can't get any easier than that. Okay, so the first tumbler goes to Yazoo! And the second one goes to Joanne Robinson. How about that? And we're going to take a detour. I'm going to give away the shirt before we give away the last tumbler, so we have a little suspense background. By the way, if you want to buy one, I've got 17 left. I'm going to charge what we get charged, which is $15. I don't look to make a profit off this stuff. I look to get cool stuff that you want to go out there and use. Okay, so I've got them in my office if you want to get one. For the shirt, we have Jim Bowen.
He needs a shirt.
Thank you, Mrs. Swanson.
That's your 14th shirt. I tell you. Eventually, you're gonna have one for every day of the year.
Terry,
And the final.
who do you think is your supplier for the shirts?
Hmm?
Who do you think is your supplier for the shirts?
It's a white card. Who has a white card? Raise your hand. Raise your hand or you're not going to be able to win. Okay, so we're down to about 4. And if your first name starts with an A. Raise your hand. Don't raise it sheepishly or I'm not gonna give it. There you go. You won the final one. So, enjoy. It is summertime. We've got a couple of things going on we're gonna talk about in a minute. But the one thing I want you guys to realize, you know, the reason I put the picture of the field goal kicker up here is, you know, these guys, they go out there, they practice, and then they may get to kick the ball in a game or not. They make a good fortune if they are drafted in the NFL, because this position comes down to winning championships or losing championships off of one single action that somebody prepares through high school, college, and then goes in the pros, and they sit there every single day kicking thousands of balls through the goalpost. And then they come down to the moment where they're in the championship game. Everything's on the line. And they got to go out there and either kick the field goal to win the game or miss the field goal to lose it. Just like Jeff just lost it by being late today. So, we do have big news. So, I want you guys to think about this. Right now, you're getting ready to tee up for your one shot. And the question's going to come down to how much are you going to take advantage of this opportunity that's going to be coming across our plate or not? Are you going to practice? Are you going to go out there and study the game, what I'm going to show you that you can do today? Or are you going to just hope that business happens and falls in your lap? And I'm going to tell you there's going to be a big opportunity. I'm getting more and more calls from across the country from brokers and owners going, are you seeing what I'm seeing? And it's all in that upper end market. And we're going to look at some things that's just very interesting and telling. By the way, I also brought up about a month ago, I said, hey, have y'all seen all the townhomes going in out there? Isn't that crazy stuff? And they're all starting in the mid to high twos. How many can go along with that? So I said, man, I passed this one on McGinnis Ferry Road, and there's all these units sitting there. Now, when I went through, it was a weekend, and there was nobody going through them, and there was no under contract, there was no agent thing. I'm thinking, wow, this is really sucking wind over here. And Yazoo said, no, I went over there, and there was people trying to get, it's like a madhouse over there. I said, hey, no way, because it wasn't what I saw. So I called the agent. I said, hey, what's going on over there? It's a Beazer community. Beazer's known for building in the right areas, and big square footage for the price. But these are townhomes. How many do you think they sold as of a week and a half ago? How many were under contract? They had one listed in the computer system, it's like 305 or something like that. Huh?
I will say they sold.
They've sold. Yes, they have. How many? How many you want to guess? Not one. They're selling out of a trailer. You're right, 30. 30. Unbelievable. I said, you've only got one listed in the system. She goes, yeah, we only had to do one in there. We sold everything. And that was like 300 and something thousand. I'm going to tell you guys this. That does not mean that that's going to continue on forever. If you recall, when we hit the slump, some of you weren't in the business at that time, Suwanee, over there, a little town center of Suwanee, had 70 sales the first day they opened. And the majority of them to investors. And that was the beginning of the end. Now, I'm not saying it's the beginning of the end. I'm just saying there are things going on out there that are inconsistent with stuff that can hold on for a long time. But they're happening right now. It's just things and trends that I'm sitting there going, what are we seeing? When I'm starting to get calls from across the country on a very regular basis now, from other brokers and owners going, what do you got going on in your market? Because we're seeing a huge slowdown. We're going to talk a little bit about that and where the opportunities are going to be. And we're going to end up with some slides. But to start off with, so I want you guys to be able to kick that straight through the field goal and not miss your opportunity. I was going to say hit the home run, but that wouldn't make sense. If I was my mom up here, I'd say, so you can hit the home run. But I want you to be mentally prepared so that you don't get out there and get freaked out. And your one shot that you've got to get that one big listing, I don't want you to mess up on it. And I don't want you to get it priced right so you don't sit there and be the first agent that lets it expire versus the second that got it to sell. Be the first to get it to sell by pricing it right and get it in the right condition. Start things off with, we've got Mr. Tom Black over here. Who can tell me who Tom Black is?
This guy right here.
He won $100. Where's my shirt? Smartest guy in the bus. Smart ass.
I can tell you a lot about him, Terry.
Now, don't hold this against Tom because I met him and he's actually a nice guy, but he has known Kim for a very long time. Don't hold that against him. Don't say anything for him.
I can't say anything for him or against him.
No? Okay. Go ahead.
No, we go all the way back to high school, and I know I don't look this old, but 1975 we first met, so I've known this guy for a long time. It's funny you put the football picture up there because it reminded me of a story our first season when we were playing football together, and I was playing running back, and he was a tight end, and the quarterback, we called a play where I was in the end zone and was supposed to catch a touchdown pass, and he found me wide open in the back of the end zone, and the ball's coming, and Tom jumps up, tips the ball, and it never got to me, and I think it fell incomplete, didn't it? Or did you catch that? Remember that game, Marietta?
Well, Tim, hold on, I hate to tell you, he didn't have to jump.
No, he did, because he was trying to throw it over Tom to me, he still had to jump, but anyway. We won the game, and I didn't have a touchdown yet that season. I think we lost our first 2 games, and that was our 3rd game, and we did win it. And so everything worked out well. But there's a lot of other stories I could tell. How many times have you bailed me out of jail?
Never,
How many times have you helped me move?
about 14.
He's a good guy. He'll do anything for you.
Well,
So-
Kim, I do gotta say, you might look great if you'd stop coloring your hair. That's a.
I'm trying to figure out how that was relevant.
We're all trying to figure out how your damn football story was.
You should play football.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Kim. All right, take over.
And by the way, Tim did catch a lot of touchdown passes after that, so.
Oh, you don't have to explain it to us.
We're an FAA approved, we have our 333, our certificate of authorization, all the legal stuff that the FAA requires. The rules are gonna change at some point down the road, but right now you have to have, basically a licensed pilot at the controls of the drone. As absurd as that sounds, it's really more about airspace rules because we're trying to integrate these things into the national airspace safely.
So we are talking about drone photography, just my basic.
Drone photography and drone videography. What we started doing is we're kind of taking an inside-outside approach because when we first started, we were just getting homes that were on lakes and golf courses and ponds and, to show proximity. And then as we went along, people liked the video so much, and video holds attention a little better than that slideshow that has been around for 25 years. So what we're doing with our videos is we're making the outside drone shots, and then we can move into the house and show the inside of the pictures that you guys provide for us. We do some interior video. Generally, you need a really big property for that. I'll give you an idea here. And this is a series of examples of what we can do. And by going in the house and outside the house, you can take that video that we make for you and put it on the MLS under your virtual tour and get rid of those slideshows. So it shows, the inside and the outside of the house in motion. And people, how short people's attention spans are these days. Short people. Short people's attention spans.
I get
I've never seen water coming out of the roof, but apparently that guy coming into his.
The inspector will find out.
We have some interior photographers we work with. It seems like everybody's kind of got their own favorite photographer they like to work with. But if you need one, give us a call.
Hey, this is great. So what they do is you can get them your photographer's stuff, have them do the aerial thing, then send them the pictures. They'll make it in the video, so it's a lot better than just the videos because those tend to take a little longer. So that actually was a good transitional thing.
Yeah, that's kind of how the business is matured. The other thing is we've started adding the amenities because a lot of times you'll have a house
That's a stove on marine boat.
that's a house that may not be sitting in the chest of tea. Let's show the chest of tea there. Okay, this is the one we did for Danny the other day. And of course, we make an unbranded version for the MLS.
And this is one where we took his photos and put it in the video.
Yeah, Danny had a separate photographer come out with photos, and then he sent them to us. We created the video. Of course, if a lot, you know, if you're using social media, videos get a lot more attention on social media than pictures do.
What's the approximate cost?
Starts about $300. But what I was gonna say earlier is, a lot of times your houses will all be together, but you'll have great amenities, you know, to help sell the lifestyle in addition to the property. Now, this one doesn't have any video added in, but if you have the right property, you know, photos and the interior video with the exterior video. Yeah, this is a 20-acre equestrian farm, and what you can.
Now, by the way, Danny picked this listing up from another agent that had no drone photography, and the big thing for these people, they want to know what he was going to do differently. And we talked about different things, and the drone photography, the drone video is very important to these people. And it's not that you got to do this on every property, but I'm going to tell you, when you really look at the emotional connection you can have to somebody with this stuff. Lewis Rockford listed the property that somebody had expired. They didn't do any drone photography. He went out there and had a video of 17-acre thing. He got it sold at the price that the people wanted, and the people think that he's just a rock star. And this was up in Hall County. It doesn't have to be a huge acreage estate like this. If you've got a higher-end home that the commissions are going to make sense, you could be in St. Marlow in a tucked-in neighborhood and have a drone video making homes look 10 times better when you've got it lifting off from the front of the home and going over. It's just an amazing difference.
And the bad news I have for you is more and more sellers are asking their agents to do a drone video. Of the last 4 we've done, 3 of them were requested by the seller of the agent they were going to hire. So, and on this particular one, we met this owner, and she told us that she had found the house she wanted to move to on a drone, with a drone video. And that's when she started looking in North Carolina, she started looking online. And then there was a drone video, and that's how she knew where she wanted to move.
Can those videos be narrated?
We're not doing voiceovers right now. We generally try and we can put title bars like that, or anything you may want to put.
Sorry.
We can convey whatever information you want us to convey in the video. And we will work with you on that stuff. There's some other guys out there doing that don't customize the video.
This is what I love about what they're doing. I haven't seen the others that'll go and instill your pictures into their video. Usually it's just a bunch of video shots. That's awesome right there.
That's great.
And this house is under contract. At one point, we had 4 of the last 6 that we had done under contract in a week. Now, that's not just the drone video. That's because we get great properties too, you know, and great agents that sell a lot of houses quickly. So there's been very few that didn't sell that we've done.
How do you select the music?
My editor has a feel for it, quite frankly. If it was up to
Do you
him
like
and I,
We have a library up, and I'm willing to change it, you know, to suit your taste.
we do have to use, purchase music, royalty-free music, and we have to pay for it so there's no copyright infringements.
Can't be led Zeppelin.
Just what Kim and I would put on a video.
I'm always telling them next lane, get something more upbeat.
But I will tell you, all the videos we produce, I've never had a client ask us to change it or edit it. They love it.
Okay.
There seems to be, there's a certain art to this that your average 19-year-old kid that's gonna be approaching you about doing drone videos is not gonna possess in the future. Yeah, you'll come to appreciate the quality of the artistry, if you will. And people are real fascinated right now because they've seen so few aerials, you know, from 0 to 200 feet. Everybody's seen stuff from airplanes and pictures from airplanes, but this is truly a bird's eye view, if you will, of, you know, the ground to 400 feet.
What's your turnaround time?
It's usually 2 to 3 days.
Do you load it on MLS for us?
We do not, we're not approved, but
We're trying to.
we're working on that. They just changed the system, right, where they actually took out most of their approved vendors, and so they make your office do it. I run across those situations, there's somebody in the office that does it, and then individuals do it themselves.
We don't have one of those anymore.
You do not, so the agent has to put them in MLS themselves. Yeah, put it in the, behind the video button.
All right, Tom, I got a question for you. Do you do bundle packages?
Like 2 or 3 together.
Like if I buy multiple, that's when I get the price down?
Yes.
What are those?
Well, Terry, we're still having to do everything ad hoc because we're working all over Georgia. You know, we're in Dawsonville, we're in Macon, we're in Douglasville. So if you have a bundle, say you had 2-3 houses in Chestatee, then that would be a different rate than if you want us to do one in Chestatee and one in Copper Springs and one in Peachtree City. Because our travel, we try not to charge travel per se, but it is built into our price.
So if I have one close by your house, then I'm gonna get a discount.
That's right. If you go to Peachtree City, that's the best deal you're gonna get.
Is that where you come from?
Yeah.
Peachtree City? Yeah. Any questions from anybody?
What if you focus on one neighborhood as an agent, and can you do like the amenities, like the golf course and the swim tennis, and then for each listing, would you, if we sent you pictures, would you then incorporate?
We can do that, and we've actually had, I think she's gonna show you here. We've actually had one agent that has had us do Crabapple Lake, Crabapple Walk. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. Yeah, the Crabapple communities. And because he sells a lot of houses in those neighborhoods, we actually had it about 3 different times where other agents said, you know, I want you to make an amenities video. I put it on my Facebook page, my website, and I'm a member of the neighborhood, the HOA, and you know, put it in on the HOA newsletter, electronic newsletter.
That's one.
And I think that's a great idea. If you're farming a neighborhood and targeting a neighborhood, I would highly recommend doing this.
Because you know, a ground level picture of a swimming pool just doesn't.
That's something
convey
else
the-
new that we're doing, these,
Yeah.
What everything is?
yeah, where the schools are, where the news restaurants are, shopping.
Yeah, everybody wants to know where their Publix is, where their Kroger is, their Starbucks.
All right, anything else? Good stuff? And by the way, give him a nice little round of applause for Frank. Isn't that a good segue, Tom?
Yep.
Thank you. There you go. You got anything else you want to say?
No, that's it.
His cards are right over here. And you know, that's very high quality stuff. So, if you got any questions, give them a call directly, get their cards because they are a preferred vendor for us. So, keep that in mind. Okay. Zuloff, why don't you come up and introduce some people here, or some persons? A person? Some persons? It's your one shot, yes.
Well, anybody, see what came about of the Fed meeting? Nope, nothing?
I'll buy that page.
I was like,
Does everybody know that there's a federal thing? Start turning.
Yeah.
So everybody knows that.
I know that.
Oh, they're very
And
reserved.
who can tell me when they met?
last week, 14th, 15th.
Last week, 14th and 15th.
And they're not gonna do anything.
Right. They're not gonna do anything.
Why aren't they gonna do anything?
They can't.
By the way, who knows what we're saying when I say they're not gonna do anything?
They're not gonna raise
Right.
rates.
Short-term. Short-term interest rates, not mortgage rates, they don't control that directly, but they do control it indirectly. So
So, yeah.
tell us a little bit more about
Prime
that.
rate's not gonna go up, so we had a little, decrease in mortgage rates. We got about an eighth bump, rates went down, 3.375 on a conventional 30-year fix with 1 point origination.
So what came out that kind of spooked them a little bit? Jobs. We had a big drop off and it's still positive numbers as far as the number of jobs that were added, but there's far off expectations and so now everybody's worried about an economic slump. So, at the beginning of that, so made everybody pull back. So we've been having all these positive gains on jobs growth and then all that was positive, is a heck of a lot lower than what they were anticipating. So Fed said, whoa, wait a minute. We know we're going to raise short-term rates in the future. It's just going to be in the future and not today.
That's right. So a good time to take advantage of it. Selling season right now, low rates, even lower rates. They're already starting to go up a little bit. Friday started to trickle off. Monday, rates got a little bit worse. So, I mean, it's just all the gains we got are coming back. So anyone that locked in on Friday over the weekend got a little boost. Last week was a great week. Closed 12 purchase loans, most of them out of this office. Closed 7 deals on Friday alone, and 4 of them were interconnected. Terry had talked a little bit about the one deal with the alimony. We had a deal where my buyer was buying another agent's listing, and then I was doing that buyer. So it was all interconnected. We had a person that was qualifying on alimony alone. That's it. That's all the money she had was alimony. And we found out partway down the road that Fannie Mae said now it's 6 months, not 3 months to use that alimony. And we only had five checks we could show, so we were short by a month. They changed it to 6 months. So we basically backed up and punted and said, okay, we've got a week. What can we do here? I had 3 agents and outside my door, and they were all nervous. I think there were some people that were nervous, and I said, RELAX. We've got this. And so in a week, we were able to flip it from conventional to FHA. We got the appraiser back out there. The person selling their house was a nervous Nancy, and they're like, we don't want to deal with her. We don't want to deal with her. I said, let me call her. I called her up. I said, come on in. I got one document for you to sign. She goes, what is it? I said, it's just a thing about the appraisal. I said, the appraisal's already in it. Appraised, we're fine. And so she came in and said, what does that mean? And I said, that means that your house just had to appraise for that amount. It was the FHA amendatory clause. Right. So I didn't want to go into all the specifics to make her all nervous, but I said, we just need you to sign this. We missed it during the process for your buyer. So she signed it happily. And well, why is the appraiser coming back out? I just missed a few pictures. They have to look up in the attic and take the pictures. So, long story short, everything went well. We got it closed on time. We flipped it to FHA, and they allowed us to get the 6th payment a month early. So normally we could take 3 months alimony on an FHA, but the fact that this lady had been a stay-at-home mom for 17 years, FHA says we need to show a stability of income. So now we're back to 6 months again. I'm like, oh crap. My underwriter's like, Jeff, just get the ex-husband to give us a month early of the alimony and we can make this deal work. So, a success story, obviously, and the fact that we were able to adapt and our underwriters are flexible makes a huge difference. Because I said, look, Mike, we're in a jam here. We got to get this thing through. It's affecting 2 or 3 families down the road. And he said, I can give you more. And so the ex-husband came to the plate for us. So sometimes it takes a lot to get these things through.
Is that because you're doing your own underwriting?
We underwrite all of our FHA in-house. And some of the conventional, if it doesn't have PMI, we'll underwrite those in-house too. So if it has PMI, we source it out to whoever we're using. Genworth, United Guarantee Rating, there's a slew of them that we can go to. So we had one other deal that was interconnected, and wasn't the alimony deal, but we had another one that was a 3-week closing FHA, and the agent came to me and said, my guy's got to sell his house to buy a house. This guy's an agent, so a real estate agent couldn't get a loan from Quicken Loans. God forbid Quicken Loans couldn't do it. So they basically said, you don't have your tax transcripts, you're not getting a loan from us. And so I had 3 weeks. I took his tax returns, took them over to Mike, the head of underwriting. I said, what can we do? Can we get a waiver on these? Look at his business. He's got 2 or 3 businesses that feed up into one. He's been in the real estate market for like 12 years. And he showed good income, but Quicken just wasn't going to budge. We needed tax returns and we're not closing. So long story short, we were able to flip that one over, and 2 days before closing, he tells us he has child support. He's an agent. Keep in mind, he's an agent. Didn't tell us he had child support. Didn't mark it on the application. Luckily, the debt-to-income ratio worked, but here he is sending me his full, divorce decree 2 days before closing because nobody knew. We got a letter of explanation because he had a bounce check. So on FHA, we want to know why are you bouncing checks? And he says, well, the child support check, blah, 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 blah. And anyways, oh, you have child support? We didn't know that. So anyways, a lot of things can come up along the way. We've got a list of things we're going to put together, and I've sent it to Terry to proofread already. These are the things that can come up during the processing of a loan, and I think it'll be helpful for some of the newer agents, even some of the seasoned agents, to see what can happen along
And
the way.
here's a couple of things that came up from people in situations that I know. One, if you are self-employed, I'm going to tell you this. If you got a self-employed client, guess what they're going to get questioned on up to the day of closing? All the documentation that they've already sent in, they're going to be pestered. They're going to want high school stuff. They're going to make sure they've got a birth certificate, that they're alive. It's going to be the stupidest, dumbest things in your opinion, but that's what a self-employed person's going to have to go through up to the day of closing. If you don't know that, then go ahead and start understanding that and educate your clients so that they're not going, what the hell is the problem? If you're self-employed, you're going to jump through hoops up to the day of closing, correct?
Yeah.
Second thing was, what was the other thing that was a simple? We got a call from some people going, why did they wait until 2 days before closing to verify my employment? Anybody tell me why they do that?
By the way, it's standard practice. Right?
They should get over a pitch. And I said, well, here's what happens. They want to make sure right before they give you the money that you're still employed. It says, I go, oh, well, that makes sense. I just thought, shouldn't you take care of this at the beginning? So there's a lot of things that are going to happen, especially today, that I'm sharing these little things with you guys, and these came up over the last couple weeks. I'm like, hey, you know what, Jeff, it'd be good, because the last thing that I want you guys to do is have an irate client come to you and you not know or understand what they do and why, and have you go, I can't believe they waited until 2 days before closing too. And if you don't know the answers, then you're going to think, well, that's messed up. Why didn't they do that at the beginning? So simple things like that. There's a whole bunch of them that goes along with today's lending practices and what underwriters are going to do, and why things get kinked up or why things happen. So Jeff came up with it's like 2 sheets. And we just want you guys to have the power so that when those things happen, you can educate your consumers. As a matter of fact, maybe before you take them out and they start the mortgage process, you can hand them that sheet and go, hey, here's some things you need to understand as you go through the process. By the way, you need to introduce somebody, don't you?
Yeah. So, as it gets busier and we're in the summer season, my assistant's gotten a little overwhelmed. So Terry and I talked, and Robert said we need to get him some support. So it just so happens we have someone that's retiring from the military in 20 years. Been the head of all the military police at Fort Hood. Anybody knows Fort Hood, Texas, big base, 225,000 people on base, lots of families, lots of MPs, military police, and served 2 tours of Iraq, 1 Purple Heart, and proud to say it's my brother-in-law, Joe Donovan.
You know what? We want you as our LO, and you want your business.
Who knows? But Joe's, he wants to get into the mortgage business. He's good with working with people because, you know, you gotta have those people skills. And he's obviously good at managing a lot of things at once. He had to tell him some of what he did.
Biggest thing is I was the director of all emergency services for Fort Hood. So I was in charge of the crime scene investigation, all the emergency response for the last 2 active shooter events there. I'm also federal law enforcement training instructor. So a lot of multiple things at once when you're dealing with fire, ambulatory, EMS, and patrol response, along with civilians and telephone calls. And it gets pretty chaotic pretty quick. So you just got to be able to remain calm and make sound decisions. So it's I'm worried and shit. I like that high stress, fast up tempo. So this is perfect.
Here's the deal, well, you know, once Jeff was getting into the mid-20s as far as handling things, it's like you can only handle so much when you've got a certain foundation with you and stuff. So we all sat down together and said, what do we got to do so we can move the ball forward and have you not have things happen out there, which will. In your business, you'll get to a point where it's like, okay, I can't take anymore. I've got to get somebody to help me. And sat down with him, and he's been phenomenal. He's a great communicator. He's going to be very involved in the business. You'll see him here in the office a good bit. So I've been very happy with the communications that we've had and made a couple recommendations to him, and he's gone in there and just made things start to happen. So it's going to be great. So thank you for bringing him on board. Anything else?
Anything else? Questions?
What are rates today?
3.5 on a 30-year fix, conventional 3 1/4 FHA. Arm rates in the 2s, so probably 2.875, maybe to 3% on a 7-year arm, just depending on the situation. Rates are good.
Excellent. Thank you very much. All right, we got a little what would you do? This is interesting. It just came to me yesterday, and I'm seeing that it's Rosa in here. No, she's the one that brought it to me. Right? No? Okay. So here's the deal. This was interesting. Property with 10 acres. It's got an easement for the property behind it to go to the main road. A potential buyer wants to buy the property and fence it all in and do away with the easement.
No.
Hold on. Okay, so here we have property A, property B, the roadway, and the easement. That says easement. Okay, so let me ask you this. What is property B considered in this equation? Well, what's the name?
Subservient.
Is it subservient? What is it? What are the 2 different properties? You have 2 properties in this. One is what? One is dominant, and one is what? Servient, not subservient. Servient.
Sorry.
Servant, actually, not servient. You got me saying servient. Servant and dominant.
A's dominant.
A is dominant. B is serving.
A is dominant. Who raises their hand to say A is dominant? A is servant. Let me see your hands. It is, A is the servant. B has the right to the easement, so it is the dominant one. B has control of what happens with that easement once the easement is created. Okay? Now, there's a couple things that go along with this little ditty here. One, can they do it? Can a buyer buy it and say, I'm going to fence it all in and I'm going to do away with the easement?
No, they can't.
They can if they want to.
No, they can't.
Yeah. They just have to face the consequences.
Well, one answer is they could do it, but they'd have to face the consequences, which would be a lawsuit, which they would live with. So the question is, can they? Can they do it?
Are they able to? They are able to. You can't legally do it.
One, okay, remember this. They can. How can they? What do they got to do in order to be able to get? You can't answer. What do they got to do in order to do away with the easement?
See if they can come into agreement.
Get written permission from me and go through the process on that. How likely is that?
Not very
Not too
likely.
likely. Okay. So, One, can they? Yes, they can. The only way that they can is to have written permission from B, the dominant party here. All right, now, so what could also be done to do away with that? Or to say, okay, you're going to fence in a portion of your property. Here's what I would recommend doing as a solution, especially if it was set up like this. Can anybody go into this and say, hey, if you have this easement here and your two neighbors and B says, A says, I want to do away with the easement. What are the options? How can they work out a deal with B? They buy that portion of the land. So A can sell this portion of the land to B. By the way, do easements devalue a property?
No.
Yes, they typically do. They take a certain percentage off of a buyer's ability to go, hey, I don't really own all of this, really, because I've got to share this, that I don't really control 100% of it. What also needs to go along with an easement where it's a driveway going back to a property? What else do you need to have intact? A maintenance agreement. Who said that?
I also have real estate license.
I was like, wow, somebody nailed it. Okay, good job. Okay, so a maintenance easement. What would that maintenance easement say? Who's going to fix it? If it's a gravel road, who's going to keep up with the gravel that needs to be redone every several years? You know, if it's a paved road, what has to happen with that? And it's got to be specific. So there's a lot of things that go along with the easement. So. Well, if you've got an easement and you've got it all documented out, then there's no adverse possession because you've got, and that's why the easement is done, so to protect somebody from saying, I've been using this property and you knew it, so now therefore I own it, right? Mm-hmm. By the way, how many years do you have to do that where you're doing an adverse action?
7 years.
How do you document it? Doesn't have to be documented. Well, it needs to show something that you can state that for 7 years, here's the dates that this was done. And you need to have some way that you can show that those people knew that you were using that portion of the property for that time period. Okay, what if they were buying both properties? So 5 acres, 5 acres, the whole property is contained as 2 separate properties, but one. So what if they were buying both properties that accounted for the 10 acres in all? Can they do away with the easement?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, you give yourself a
Do they have to do anything in writing or anything since they now own both properties?
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Always put in writing.
Good answer, Tamara. No, you don't. So you still have to do that if you want to do away with the easement. If you were buying 2 5-acre tracts that had the easement, you wouldn't have to do that to clear everything up. Do it in writing and go get it all done. So that was a good little ditty that came to me yesterday, and I thought that was worth mentioning. The other thing that I will tell you is worth mentioning has to do with fraud today. Anybody hear of the fraud cases that have happened in the area that people took thousands of dollars by hijacking an agent's email account and communicating directly with the closing attorney that day and said, hey, why don't you just wire the funds over here to this account? And there's something that's set up where it looks like they're just communicating, you know, randomly with each other, and there's nothing there. It looks like a very personalized email thing. And so these 2 cases where the attorneys sent money to the bank account, that was a fraudulent setup. And so this is one of the big topics right now that's going on out there. You got anything you want to say about that?
Nothing. I don't have anything more to add than what you've already read and what you've seen. I think it'll be interesting to see what falls out from it in the next couple of weeks.
So they're hijacking these email accounts so that sometimes the agents don't even know that there's communication. They block the agent out and then they're communicating with the attorney, and so you don't have a way of knowing that this communication is going on. And they do it on the day of the closing, knowing that the agent's going to be out of contact in the email. So it's a very strategic thing. So interesting. So this is my recommendation. Make sure that you're working with people that you know, so that because if you're working with attorneys that know you, and if you're not working with attorneys that don't know you, then what will happen is if they get an email from you and they're all of a sudden you're asking them to ship it to somewhere, or send it to somewhere else, they're going to go, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. I need to reach out to them and make sure that this email is true and needs to be sent. Does that make sense? So it's gonna be doubling up, and since it's just started, it's gonna be going on for a while, so make sure that you're aware and paying attention. Yes.
This, something similar just happened to me with the agent from the brokerage I just left, is that it's coming out of Google Docs, where you get an invitation and it says, it looks just like them. It says, I shared something with you. And the only thing that caught my attention was this young lady and I don't have that kind of relationship that shared a great read with me. When you click on it, it'll want you to sign in, and then it additionally wants you to put your phone number in. And once you do that, you've given your all your credentials away, and they have it. And that's how they're getting access to your email.
Yeah, I've seen those emails. Look, if you ever get something from somebody that you know, that just says, I'm sharing this document with you, don't open it. Call them and go, hey, or email them back and go, I want to make sure that you're sending this, and see what they reply back or not. I'm seeing a lot of those. I don't open any of them. I'll call the person and go, did you mean to send this to me, or email them back? And I've seen a lot of, I sit there and go, why wouldn't y'all think about that? So if you're doing that, stop and make sure that what you're opening is meant to be sent from the person that you're receiving.
I got one from Carol Lisa. Did you get it? And
Not only did I get an email, I also got a text.
Me too.
But when
Yeah.
you open it up, it goes to an article, it goes to something, so you don't know that it's bogus.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, typically, if I'm sending somebody an attachment and it's somebody I know, I'll put something in there that they'll be able to identify that it's me, and I won't just go, I'm sharing this document with you. I'll put, hey, I thought of you when I was looking at this because of this. I don't just send, because I do that because I don't want them thinking they're getting something that they shouldn't have. But that just came up, and it's happening, and it's real, and fun stuff. Okay, here's what I'm going to show with y'all, and if you're watching online. So here's the deal. This is what we came up with yesterday. If you want your own magazine, this is going to be the layout that we pretty much go with. You will have an option A column, an option B column, and an option C column. Monica and I are the only ones that can help you with this stuff. If you need help with the bio, you can sit down with Rob, Deborah, myself, but when you're ready to implement and push the button up, I'm ready, you have to have a high-res photo. You have to have a full-fledged bio that you feel 100% comfortable in what it says. And you have to have the third box, which will either be your marketing plan, your production log, or the real satisfied customer referrals or customer testimony. Yes, thank you very much. So then you'll have 3 boxes, and that's how we came up with to do the simplest thing. If you want to have your own, the cost is $120 for 50 of these. That includes shipping and tax, and that's all of this together for you for that low cost. And you can thank Dee because he brought the printer to us, and that is a phenomenal offering. You won't touch it anywhere of any print shops for basically a little over $2 per copy for just a 50 run. So thank you very much, Dee.
My pleasure.
Let's give Dee a nice round of applause. So you've got FMLS stats in front of you. This is what I want you guys to realize. 1, the market has been hot through the month of May. Anybody feel a cool off a little bit in the traffic and the showings and the number of deals coming across? Let me see your hands if you felt that in the market out there. Yes, it is real. If you've been dealing in lower price ranges, you might not have felt it as much. But if you're dealing in prices above 500 or 400, depending on the market, you need to be paying attention to what's going on in your market. Because right now, people, when they see the stats, if you look over these, there's nothing negative in these stats right here whatsoever, period. If you look over these numbers, it looks like rosy. Everything's going up. We're skyrocketing. But I want you guys to look at this. This is what I saw. Where I put wow, I want you to think, if we're getting so close to $300,000 as our average or median price of sales in all of Atlanta, how long can that continue where all of a sudden you're cutting out a lot of people from being able to have home affordability that 2 to 3 years ago could get a nice size home? We're cresting to a point where it's like, we're getting to a questionable point in Atlanta for the Atlanta market. And then you go, hey, there's something that's happening. And then as the prices have gone up, all of a sudden people that might have been wanting to move from a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 home up to a $700,000, $800,000 home, all of a sudden they're going, gosh, why would I want to spend that much more to not really get that much more in home? Or to go into a home that now I got to go in there and gut and take over the crap that they're leaving that's 10, 15 years old, and I got to go update it for today's style. So we're seeing some different trends and things going on out there when you've got very low interest rates and all of a sudden we're getting that skid mark going on the amount of people going out there looking. You just got to pay attention to this stuff. So here's what I'm going to recommend to you guys. Let me erase this stuff here too. Get into your high school district. And you got to own that stuff out there. And I want you looking at it like you are a, where's the eraser? Anybody?
Hit it hard.
Oh,
Yes.
there we go. So FMLS stat, it all looks good through May, right? May was our biggest month ever. And it was that way last year. And then all of a sudden from Memorial Day through July 4th, we felt the slow off. So what I'm going to tell you guys is this. Go into the high school districts. I went in today right before I came into the meeting. It took me 10 minutes to come up with some numbers and stats for Area 221 that I'm going to go over. And I'm going to ask you guys, do this stuff for your high school district wherever you live and do it today. Don't sit there and go, oh, that's a good little idea. Sweet Terry did that. I'm going to just copy. Go do it today. Do not wait. And start doing this each and every week and pick other high school districts and do the same thing. Just pick high school districts around your high school. So if you live in South Forsyth, pick Lambert, pick South Forsyth, and pick West. And start just owning those little slices right there. So do the high school trends. Go in $100,000 blocks to study the numbers up to or through $1 million in price. By the way, that's list price. Like I said earlier, I'm getting calls from across the country from brokers that, hey, what's the slowdown going on? I believe some of it's natural because it's the same thing we went through last year. But I also believe that some of it's problematic. And that's where I'm seeing townhomes. How long can they go where you're starting at $300,000 on townhomes that don't even have 3 levels? It's 2 levels with a garage. Crazy stuff going on. Upper end market where you're seeing a very big slow off in the number of buyers compared to the number of homes that are available out there. Those are the trends to watch going forward. The only reason to be afraid, just remember the field goal kicker, the only reason to be afraid is if you're not prepared, period. So I want you studying this stuff because trends are formed over time, not just overnight. But we've seen some big adjustments going on out there. So here's my little, and I wanted to show you guys, this is how I work. It's not that flamboyant or anything. I don't have to sit down and go, let me go study this, I'm going to print this up and then type it in over here. Just pull out a pad and start taking notes. It's what you're going to train your brain around. So this was area 220. You won't understand my notes. Let me tell you what it is. This is area 221, Southeast Forsyth High School. The sold or pending, I went back 45 days. So here's what I did. I said, okay, what is the date today? It's the 21st. I went back to May 15th, and I said, let me see just the pendings. So I did pendings, contingent other, contingent due diligence. I did anything that would be an under contract motion back to May 15th. And all I did was I wanted to say, okay, that is the most recent production. Let's see what the numbers are. So this is for area 221. The price range 100 to 200. Look at this, pending 0 for area 221. That's because the prices over here have gone up so much. So 0 pending, you've only got, that's a 4. That's not 21. I looked at that going, okay. That's a 4. There's 4 available homes that are probably turds that no one wants to buy in area 221. So then I just went 2 to 300, and these are list prices over here. So you just plug in the list price. There's 26 pending, 21 actives. So left-hand column is your pendings. The right-hand column are the actives. And all you're doing is going, hey, let's see where the trends. Let's look for the white heat that's here, because where do you want to be positioned as an agent right now? Where the hot market is, because that's going to be your mass majority of buyers. Your most referrals are going to come from the people that you work with. So you go through and you're going, where's the line where I need to start watching out for the number of homes sold versus the number of homes that are active? And it's right above the $600,000 line. Because right here you had 41 sales since May 15th and you've got 98 active. That's a pretty strong market right there. So in area 221 through 5 and 600, that's okay. But all of a sudden you start to get to the line right here. 6 to 700, there's been 11 sales in the last little over 30 days. And there's 54 actives. That's one to start watching. Look what happens here, 12 and 31, 5 and 16. one sale in the last 30+ days, and there's 7 active. You get over 1 million, one sale, there's 26 actives. So what I want you guys starting to do is breaking the market down and looking like this, because I'm going to tell you this. Most agents just want to hear this stuff, and they assimilate it out there and go, man, everything's great. And guess what? They go out there and communicate with the sellers. Woo, this is a hot, hot market. Look at the trends that are going on. And they don't break it down like this. So you can go, if you're above $1 million, do you need to be paying attention to what's going on? Do you need to do more to your home and price it more aggressively? Yes, you need to be doing all those things. And guess what these people are going to be wanting you to do? I want you to invest $300 to go do that aerial photography. And you're sitting there going, one sale in the last 40 days, and I don't know if I want to do that. So how tight are you going to make them get the price? So I'm going to help you negotiate with Tom. But we are at the 10th point of something. And I don't know what the future is going to be on this, but I want you guys to do one thing. Own your specific market. And whenever I look at a market, I look and go, it's your high school district where you live. That's your main #1 market that you need to be aware of. You're going to be socially engaged around that little pocket more than you are anywhere else in this world, anywhere else on this planet. So own it. Go out there and just say, I need to own my high school district, because when I go to a function, a social, and I need to know what the hell is going on there so I can sound relevant and tell them exactly what's going on with the latest 30-day statistics versus going back a year's worth of inventory or study. A year ago does not matter today. 6 months ago does not matter today. Go start getting real with this stuff. Don't be afraid of it. Go, hey, where are the problem areas? And then if I get a call in that, by the way, look at this, and you need to start telling your friends that are in the $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 home, oh my God, you need to get in line. You need to start thinking about, is this next year going to be when you want to move up in home? Because you take that Wall Street Journal article that I sent you guys last week, because this is what everybody's starting to talk about. So let's get your home prepped up now, and maybe we go out there and start looking at homes today so that you know this $800,000 home might become a $650,000 home in 6 months. We don't know. But this is how you need to start talking to people to get them engaged for the future and get them excited about buying today versus doing nothing or waiting for somebody else to go in there and talk to them. So what I'm going to tell you guys is own your high school district. It is not that hard to do. Very simple. It took me 10 minutes to do that. And all I did was go in. By the way, you can also go and do all different sorts of things. I said, well, what's the new homes versus the resales doing in this market? It's about 15%. So it's really not that big of an issue, but you got all this raw dirt turning around over here. It's going to become an issue. That's a trend we need to start watching around here moving forward. But what I did was, for that to see which was new homes or resales, all I did was plug in 2015 with a plus sign. And then back those numbers out. Does that make sense? Any questions on this? Yes.
On the middle column there, is it pendings or solds?
Can you not tell? It's P-E-N-D. I mean, come on.
I saw the solds up on top.
I know. Well, these are just my notes. Don't take it all. I understand it. So this is just, I didn't put solds in there since May. I only wanted to see contracts that were written from May 15th to today. Because that gave me the truest form of demand, and I just want to see what are the newest trends that we're seeing. Okay. And you can go, remember this, automatically it's going to plug in how many months back? It goes 6 months back, 180 days. So you have to go into those calendars and those are a pain in the, y'all been dealing with that, those calendars, they're a pain in the butt. But get in there and customize it where it'll make sense to you that you can tell it to the people. Now, let me go back on something here, and we'll end on this. It's what's going on. Dot-Loop training dates. Initial training and tune-up. Tuesday, June 29th, 11:30 to 1, directly after sales meeting. This is for those that did not attend training last week. Dot-Loop tune-up session. Tech Thursday, 2 sessions, 10 to 11:30 or June 30th, 1 to 2:30. We're going to have 2 of them. Yes?
June 29th, Tom Gillette is here doing the Can't Fix Stupid. All day. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll have 2 sessions going on. One will be over in the bullpen, and one will be here. And that's how we'll work it. So bullpen use is going to be very limited on the 29th. You can use it, but we're going to have the Tom Gillette. We're going to have Tom Gillette in here. We'll have the other one in there. Yes, your open house. I'll get that in a second.
Thank you. The 29th is a Wednesday.
It is.
We tried. Let me say this. Mr. Shepherd gave me this morning. How about this? Let's shift it up a little bit. We're gonna tell you we're gonna have some damn outlook training, okay? Probably not gonna be on these exact dates, but we'll send an email out that'll get that cleared up. How about that?
That sounds
That good? All right. Now, when are we going live with Outlook? We don't know. It might be July 11th, if that is accurate.
May or may not be correct.
Or it should be in August.
So, the staff is watching the video right now and the back end stuff. I will say this, the Outlook training people, it's not been all that glorious, but I will tell you, once we get into it and we get things down, so we decided, hey, as opposed to trying to just ram it in, let's make sure that we get everything in place correctly and wait for after the 4th of July, since most of the staff will be out and Robert and I will be in here driving most of the stuff. Good luck to you guys, okay? So that's why we picked July, maybe July 11th. The week after July 4th break is gonna be when we do, yes.
When will we get like login information that we can kind of go and start activating long before July 10th?
Yes.
Maybe July 11th.
Whatever. Pipeline shuts down July 10th.
Some people already have them. We'll get that to you.
If you had signed up before, it recognized you and put
I know,
you
but
as.
Robert said we were getting new accounts from those free accounts that we
Yeah.
were getting new accounts.
So that stuff will be, there'll be an email that will address that. Okay, now, fun dates to remember. Next Food Truck Friday is gonna be July 22nd. Northwest Exterminating will be in here doing great things. And the company picnic. By the way, who was here last year and did the company picnic? If you haven't been to our company picnic, let me tell you this. It is goofy, it is fun, it is good food, and it is to go out there and have a good time, have a little competition. This year will be myself and Robert competing with each other with our teams. If you want to be on the winning team, feel free to get with me and I'll tell you how to do that. But we do come up with some fun games, and you never know what can happen with that. So, and last year, who was the winner, Debbie?
Our team.
Who'd she beat, Rob? So those are the dates to remember, and as long as they're accurate, they are true, okay? But those are 2 slides given me by Robert, so I'm assuming that they are. And by the way, on Tuesday, July 26th, that will take place of the sales meeting. Okay, Carolyn, you want to give a little blitz here?
Yes, Kelly is having a luncheon today. It's a cute, it's under 300,000 ranch. That's hard to find in Forsyth County, as y'all know. We would love to have you there right after this. So she's having lunch, and there'll be a drawing, and we'd love to see you.
You got anything you'd like to say to wrap us up? I'm giving you a free promo.
Carlson Green Home Solutions, thank you everybody for the referrals we're getting from you, and we have your back. If you have a house that has a mold issue or an odor issue, just give us a call, and remember, we do free mold assessments, doesn't cost you a dime, so get in front of a problem. Thank you.
So, ladies, if your husband stinks, give him a call. So, anyway, always remember our vendors. Tom, thank you for sponsoring this morning. We look forward to working with you. If y'all have any questions or anything, and Carolyn, did you really give a good promotion for your open house here?
Please come.
And I'll put an extra $50 gift certificate drawing in there. You'll have to bring the cards back. You cannot draw. We will.
Right. And she has a drawing there too, but you have to fill out the feedback.
All right, y'all have a fabulous day. Go work on your high school district stuff today. Make it a great day. And make sure you get Tom Black.